You.
I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. This right here is something that I want to know more about. Make sure that folks understand, what is this concert all about?
This concert is a concert of action. We are going to provide voting station nearby. It's the first concert of its kind that you can actually vote for social housing and make accessible, affordable housing for all of our residents. And you can support some of Seattle's finest musicians there at the same time. You are going to be able to celebrate and hear their stories and hear their struggles. Um, with housing, affordable housing, many of us live in affordable housing ourselves, myself included. And you are going to be able to support the musicians, support the music industry and the venues that are struggling with rising rental costs, and vote at the same time.
Yeah, this is definitely a concert of action. I love how you describe it in that way. When we think about people coming out to enjoy, amazing musicians, it's also important that we be able to infuse positive messaging like this in such an amazing entertainment space. But also, too, I think about folks understanding it and having a space to have those conversations about social housing. Why have you all decided to make this happen in this regard, with pairing an amazing concert and then benefiting the artist directly from the proceeds of the concert, and also offering this opportunity to really vote on social housing and talk about social housing?
November 2022 was a wake up call. We had the lowest voter turnout in the nation, and specifically in the Pacific Northwest, for voting. We have been losing our rights, our basic human rights. We have lost nationwide the ability to have bodily autonomy with the overturn of Roe v. Wade. We are losing the ability to teach critical race theory. Housing, we are at that finite space where we are about to have more pressing, rising rental fees. Many venues are closing. Lo-Fi is closing in spring. The Kraken bar is closed. Many spaces downtown Seattle are closing. Many of these venues are struggling to thrive. Many musicians are struggling to thrive. Um, we really want to inspire the young voter demographic, people that may be disillusioned, and understandably, rightfully so, with many of the politicians, as they see the politicians consistently synthesizing in the middle and not meeting our needs and our interests. Housing is a basic need and a basic human right. It is interconnected with the climate, environment. So we want to reach out to those that are solely interested in environment. It is related to economics and our industries. It is related to health and nutrition. As many people are being pushed out, many artists and educators in this city are being pushed out to many places like Renton and Tukwila and Lake Stevens. We're causing issues with climate. We are affecting our health as well, and we are living in areas with food deserts. We are not able to enjoy the city that we work in and contribute to. And sometimes we just move altogether. And that impacts the culture, that impacts the music, that impacts the artists here in the city. And sometimes it's necessary to make a venue and an election initiative exciting and even fun to inspire these folks to come out and actually do something that's going to help. This is a really great opportunity to support these artists. Each of these artists that have been very gracious to support this concert, they all go out there and they all support the community, education, housing, health, food. And why can't we as a city support them and support something far bigger than ourselves in the process?
Well, I agree. I mean, this is something that is completely necessary. And again, making it exciting is also necessary right now. When you talk about low voter turnout, That's also something that I think you got to find new innovative ways of bringing younger voters out to the public so that they can participate in something, but also be excited about it, right? And make it something that is relevant to them. And I think, music catches the tone of that, right? And you guys have some amazing artists that you're bringing to the stage. And before because we got Steven Severin, owner of Neumos, is also with us. And before I bring him in, I want to hear about what got you, Dawn, what got you saying, I need to be a part of this effort.
I have been consistently a housing advocate and a food justice advocate. Um, I myself am an art and culture worker and educator. I myself struggle with housing security. Many folks don't know, and I'm here to destigmatize poverty. I'm here to destigmatize what homelessness is. This summer, I was actually homeless. Technically, I was couch surfing while waiting for my affordable house. My apartment, it was like a 3-month excruciating process, screening process, and I had to relinquish my own kids. And I am not the only person that's had to deal with this and struggle with this. Many artists have had their own struggles with housing security that are participating in this concert. Many people here in the city have experienced it, and many people in media also. As I've been reaching out to folks, I have been learning that more and more reporters are actually still struggling with housing insecurity themselves here. Um, as it stands, myself and many people that are participating and boosting this, at least 65% of our monthly income goes to rent in this city. And how can I not get involved? How can I not boost and support an Initiative 135, something that many people have been devoting their whole 2 years of process into putting on this ballot? How can I not?
Yeah. Well, kudos to you for really stepping into the space and being vulnerable to share that. And we've talked about, homelessness as an issue, the unhoused, how there are so many wide varieties of how somebody can find themselves in that situation. And so I appreciate you sharing that. And I do think it's important that people understand, social housing, this will really help to assist in creating affordable options, which are so necessary, not just in the city of Seattle, but beyond. But at least let's get it right somewhere so that we can begin to replicate it everywhere.
Yes.
That's really important. I want to bring Steven in. Steven, thank you so much for being with us. Steven, how are you today?
I'm good. Good to see you again. Been a minute.
Yeah, I know it's been a while. As the owner of Neumos, I want to hear from your perspective about the importance of Neumos also participating in this amazing opportunity to bring social housing and the issue of social housing to light for so many people.
Yeah, I really thought that it was a brilliant idea to have Dawn reach out and try to get the word out in a different way because we get bombarded with so many different bits of information all day long that we ignore most of it. So you've got to find ways to reach out and get people to listen. And we've seen, especially with off uh, off year elections and definitely outside of November, the difference of a few votes can make all the difference of whether it passes or not. So by her creating this, all these people are going to hear about this initiative that wouldn't have known. They'd have had no idea because they don't read the paper or listen to, I don't know, I guess political radio. So it was really a really smart and savvy way to get the word out about something that affects a lot of these people because so many of them are artists and artists can't really afford to live in this city in particular. I mean, so many of them, you got to leave the city because otherwise you can't be a working artist, let alone all the other gigs. So I mean, I've spent most of my life working to push artists so that they get a platform to do what they do. And getting involved in politics was sort of a necessary step for me, unfortunately, because I'd rather do other things. Um, but to be able to do that to help get the word out and to make a difference, so that Seattle can be a place where artists can live and do what they love to do.
Absolutely. And I mean, the one thing about it is, Neumos is known for bringing amazing talent to the city, but also a space where a lot of local talent can finally have like kind of a bigger show. Tell us from your perspective how, you've been able to receive artists and how they've really connected with Neumos to be that next leg for them in their artistry and in their journey as a musician.
One of the things that I learned super early on is that everybody deserves your respect. You're no better than anybody else because I have a job that I get to work in, rock and roll and art, and it's super fun. So anybody starting back at Rock Candy that emails me gets a response. I don't care who you are, everybody gets a response. It's either, most of the time it's like, no, this doesn't work, or this, you'd be better off going here because you could fill that room. But everybody gets a response. So in doing that, you talk with people and you get them to build up. So, we have Barboza. It's a 200 capacity room. If you can come in and play that room and get people out and fill it up, that's a great start. That's how you get your foot in the door to start building up and to get in front of people and audiences and get your art out there. And then you take that and then you go over to Nectar and you fill that room. And then you keep going up and then you come to Neumos and you play Neumos and you get to fill up Neumos and you just keep moving up the ladder. As so many artists, like I look at somebody like Soul, who used to play house parties, and now you can sell showbox and bigger. So it's all about giving people an opportunity to get their foot in the door, to prove themselves. And a lot of times, honestly, people come in and they're like, oh, I can fill out this room, no problem, I'm me. And it doesn't work, but they got that shot. Everybody deserves a shot to try and do what it is they love. And that's one of the things that since I started Numos that we always had. Like, everybody gets a shot when we can. So
Yeah. And that brings me to the fact that, as we were just talking about, I mean, a lot of music venues have closed. They are closing. So there's a strain, I think, too, in terms of the industry, for spaces like Numos, because honestly, a lot of folks are saying, look, I normally would be able to play here. Now I can't do that. I'd normally be able to do this, to even build my audience up. How are you experiencing this kind of closing of so many of venues within the city?
I mean, this has been the craziest 3 years we've ever seen once the pandemic hit. The pandemic hit, and a week later, we started an organization called Washington Nightlife and Music Association. Got on the phone with all the different venues around the city, and or around the state actually, and was like, how are we going to keep our doors open? We're going to be closed for like 2 months. What are we going to do? No idea. It was going to be 476 days. Um, and we just started talking about what we could do to keep our doors open and to help each other out. And then we did it on a national level with National Independent Venue Alliance, which we then ended up creating the largest arts bill ever of $16 billion to save independent venues all across the country. 90% of us would have closed, guaranteed. Without WANMA and NEVA, Numos would be gone, and so would most other places. But we all got together and figured out a way to fight for each other so that we could keep our doors open, because otherwise there would be there would be nothing. I mean, there'd be no reason for somebody like me to live in Seattle, but then that's also happening in Austin and in Cleveland, Ohio, and Atlanta, Georgia. Um, so it wouldn't have mattered. Music would have just gone away. And now that we've been able to weather the storm, so to speak, uh, it's still pretty tough. I mean, I'm still part of NEVA. I talk to people across the country every week, and it's still really slow. The thing that I think is that people learned that they could stay home. They didn't have to go out every night, which is bad for somebody like me and lots of other people, um, because running venues in Seattle is very expensive. Rent, garbage, sewer, everything is just astronomical, as is housing.
Mhm.
And it makes it really difficult, which is why so many places have closed and more are going to keep closing. There's a lot of places that are, still just hanging on by threads. Um, and it's because it's really hard to run a venue. The margins were already small, um, and now you lose 30 to 35% of your audience. It's hard to make that back. So we're all still talking and trying to figure out different ways that we can keep going and make sure that we keep being here so that artists have a place to showcase their talents. I mean, that's what I do. I just try to make sure that artists have a way to express what they do. And however I can do that, I'm going to.
Well, you are definitely much appreciated for us, Stephen. I'm so glad you were able to pop in on this interview with Dawn, and thank you for stepping up to the plate to provide this amazing space for this concert. I'll let you go, but I'm glad that you were able to share from your perspective how important this is for folks to come out on Sunday. So thanks so much, Stephen.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
You as well. Well, clearly, what he was talking about, what you were talking about earlier is so important. You got to let folks know how they show up and support social housing and also support these amazing artists for this concert on Sunday. You can look right there in that camera. Let them know how they do that.
Hi, please go on to Neumos website. They have ticketing venues. Also, it's available on the 43rd DEMS Facebook page event site and Tech for Housing event site. It's available on 206 and Ever Out. Please buy the tickets. It's $15 in advance. If you have to wait because your paychecks come in on Friday or Saturday, it's $20 at the door. That will support and boost these creatives even further and help support their livelihood, and it will help to support the industry. Also, please come and vote. This is a really great opportunity. As Stephen was discussing earlier, Stephen provides opportunities. This housing provides opportunities for everyone, and your voting for these opportunities makes everyone in the city healthier and happier. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Dawn, for being dedicated to bringing this to life for all of us. I'm willing that everything is just amazing and a great turnout for all of y'all on Sunday. This is such a great effort, and we appreciate you putting your energy towards it.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Well,